graduated from high school here in 1994, which doesn't seem like that long ago, but I'm officially old because people sitting at my table have parents who graduated with me. So I think that means we're all older than we think we are. Excuse me, as I was preparing my remarks tonight, which I assure you will be very brief, I just thought from the student perspective about the things that I wish I had known when I went to college. I wasn't a first-generation student. My dad didn't go to college, but my mom got her nursing degree from Missouri State West Plains here. But she did it as an adult when she had me at home, and so there was a lot about the college-going experience that I didn't know when I started. So, just a couple of things for the students in the room, the things that I wish I had known. The first thing I wish I had known is that college is a lot of fun. West Plains is a great community, but there are a lot of people in town who think of college as just more school and who aren't interested in more school. I remember like it was yesterday, I was working at the West Plains public pool as a lifeguard, and the head lifeguard had just come home from her first year at college, and she was talking about some of the fun things that they did. And it was like a light bulb went off on my head. I was like, oh my God, I think this might be fun. It turned out it was a great time. I learned a lot and had a lot of fun all the way. College is actually so much fun that you need a plan going into it to not have too much fun. So we can talk about that later over our meal, but it is a lot of fun. I think the other thing I wish I had known as I started my career as a college student is that everyone feels like a dork their first couple of months. People who don't look like they're feeling dorky are just better actors than their peers. Everyone is trying to find their way through and find a place within the organization. The great thing about college, which many of you guys probably already know, is there is kind of an organization for everyone. So whether you find your home in a Greek organization or in a club or a choir or a sports thing, if hacky sack is your main jam, I promise you there'll be plenty of hacky sack people to hang out with. It's also a treat because you can be someone different than you were in high school. You really have the opportunity to think hard about what you want to be in this next stage of your life. And that's something that you don't get very many opportunities to do. I think another thing to remember is that you don't have to just have one thing. College offers an opportunity to be a hacky sack enthusiast, a member of a Greek organization, and also a straight A student. You can have multiple identities as you find your space. I think another thing I wish I had known a little bit better when I graduated from West Plains and started at Drury College was, people who went to fancier schools or from bigger towns really aren't any smarter than us who graduated from small town schools. I didn't know that, honestly. I was really intimidated by the people who went to private Catholic schools in St. Louis. I thought they must be rich and smart. It turns out they really didn't do that much better than those of us who were from smaller schools who just worked really hard. I have also found over the course of my professional career that although in St. Louis and Kansas City, Columbia and Jefferson City, there are a lot of people who think that IQ is highest along the I-70 corridor, and that the further away you get from I-70, the lower it goes. However, the good news is there's no advantage greater in terms of strategy than being underestimated. So for me to be able to tell people I'm from West Plains, they say, oh, well. And then to actually turn out to be literate and an able user of a fork and a knife really sets me apart. I think that the rest is that one thing I didn't know when I graduated and when I started college is that the world is a lot smaller than it looks as this moment approaches where you're going away to college. I never cease to be amazed at the number of people who continue to turn up over and over again in my life in different geographic locations, in different professional jobs. The people that you go to high school with, the people that you go to college with, they will remember you and the way that you treated them, the way that you treated yourself. And so this kind of pattern of people continuing to be part of your life is something that you have to look forward to and also be aware of. And then the last one is for the parents in the room. You've got to let go. This is the moment. You've done great work. You have wonderful kids. You've got to let go. I work with professionals from schools all over the state, and one of their favorite things to do is tell helicopter parent stories, and I assure you that you would find them hard to believe. But you gotta let go. One of the things that your kids need to learn when they go away to college isn't just the coursework. It's how to navigate a complex and large organization. I promise you that they can do it as long as you force them to.